Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Keshe. We've had a terrific meeting, all continents on hand.
Yes, it's nice to be there. We're busy with a lot of other things. It's nice to see that this meeting has taken shape and has become a regular event, and people from all over join in. I just arrived, so I don't know what you've been talking about or what has been done.
Well, I can give you a quick thumbnail. We have been focusing on the soul teachings. What we've been looking at is where we are now. We're following up on the Brazilian meeting. The Brazilian meeting brought up the consternation. They have the technology. They were hoping to get the translation of the scientific paper into Portuguese. And we emphasized to them that that doesn't really matter. They have the scientific paper, whether it's in English or Portuguese, it's not going to help them promote the technology. And what we've been discussing, and especially Jalal's latest teaching, is the emphasis from the soul level. So in conclusion, really, we're looking at where we are now, why we're there, and what is coming in September with the school opening, and what is coming in October with the possible food shortage.
And one more, you will be fed from what you leave behind. This is very strong word.
What we see is a drastic change, and what we see is a drastic change of position. The Iranian Keshe Foundation as a company has been accepted to be registered this week. So we become more or less hopefully active as a company in Iran. And with it, it brings us a lot of other things which has been waiting on the wing. And this hopefully in next few days goes back into level of acceptance. In Keshe Foundation Iran team has gone on by the request of the government on teaching, which means we are using the what we call the report as teaching thousands of Iranians to go into the hospitals to effectively deliver the technology. This is the way government has seen it, by passing the bribery, the what we call the Ministry of Health and the officers of the Ministry of Health were on the huge bribes. So once this takes shape, it has started actually now in 2 hospitals in Iran. And as I requested the officials that we do the teaching on television and radio for the people to learn totally. If it gets accepted, you'll find out the position with the report will change drastically, as Iran will show drop in infections and drop in death nationally. It's taken a long time because we literally, it's Keshe Foundation and us people who support us within the structure of the leadership and the Ministry of Health is a head-on battle. It is not something we're talking behind. And the officials have taken the steps in a drastic way that we bypass the situation. That when this goes, you'll see the report will get accepted in different way around the world. I've authorized the acceptance of the position of the Keshe Foundation as a what we call in Europe as a civil defense unit organization. And KFM in Iran has been given, all our officers, few hundred of them now will be given as a civil defense authorities, or people who can be employed to deploy the technology by teaching others. And no one can stop us anymore from now on. We can, as part of what we become an enforceable civil defense And its Keshe Foundation is not as on, is under protection of the, what we call, leadership. And the process has started for us as of yesterday or today. Once this goes the way we see it, we cannot bypass the president. He's corrupt beyond, and they have to wait to impeach him, or they let him run another 6 months of his presidency. And this way, they found a way to accommodate the Keshe Foundation. In a way, nobody can touch us entering hospitals anymore. It's a specific, what we call permits issued by the leadership through SEPA, that we become immune from anything at the moment, which means that we can apply and apply. And when the results start coming in, we'll see how, what we call, the data will read. And in the next 7-10 days, we'll see the structure. And then you see the report international be accepted. It's a lot of work. Book number 2 and 3 are going through the process. The report is coming out as a book. First book as a report with Corona. And they're publishing it on television, radio, television to promote it. And then it starts us with everything else. So don't be disappointed. The government don't accept it when it becomes, as it's going, we see it. The way it's going now, we have all of 2 major hospitals in Iran now. 2 major. The heads of governments and their families now, we used to send knowledge seekers group, support group to people's home if they needed it. Now, last week, even the family of the heads of state or government who were infected, they were told you have to come to the hospital to get, no knowledge seekers will move out of the hospital now. So we have been given a massive base in one of the major hospitals, and this will start going in a way, the way they want. And you'll find once the report comes out, it has 2 advantages for us if you work the way we see it. First of all, is recognition of the technology in Iran, and it allows us to go into the space technology very rapidly. On the other hand, because we published the paper in the Plasma Time Journal, journal become reputable, what you call, journal for publication. And this allows us to bring a lot of things in, but it's a battle. We, in Iran, they say less than 5% of the population want the president to be in the office. So we can imagine what pressures are made by him to be in. And we thought that past presidents were corrupt and taking bribes. This one has beat them all up. So don't worry if you don't have a support, just give it another couple of weeks, you will see the change because we are in it. And the Keshe Foundation team is literally in hospitals, saving a lot of lives, and on the streets and everywhere else.
Mr. Keshe, when you put out television announcements for the book, are you also going to mention the work in the hospitals with the virus?
The head of publicity of the SEPA, the special division, has been given the charge of the Keshe Foundation publication and interface with the government. One of the most powerful men in Iran has been given a job to see how they can get this situation sorted, because it's a very, very dangerous position. Up to now, till yesterday, we kept it very quiet, and now that dangerous position has turned towards that we at least got protection for the knowledge seekers. Then we have to see how the publicity group will go ahead with it. we asked for a television release and publication. Iran television radio is highly controlled, and we are pushing for the first ones to come out. You have to see that's not the propaganda. If you're not, if you are, if you go to the Iranian channels, you see it. A number of specific features for Keshe Foundation has been made in Iran to bring the Keshe Foundation into public, and it's very extensive. It's very detailed and visualizes Keshe Foundation as a peaceful organization. They deliberately set it out this way by the government. We have people who are continuously adding this every day. It's a massive propaganda, and is to elevate Keshe Foundation nationally. They have to do this. That allows the Iranian nation to get to know the foundation, and it's been embedded in the flag of Iran, and they have created an image that brings sign of peace with the Keshe Foundation. And we see a lot of videos coming out. We've seen a lot of unity coming out from the Iranian officials on the Keshe Foundation. I'll show you this. Some of this. This is in all. This is the first message. It's come out yesterday. This it says we are messengers of peace and friendship. KFSSI. This is in Iranian public domain now. It's a way the leadership is bringing the Keshe Foundation out. This is the advertising of one cup. It says, very soon the world will become the center of Danish Iran, become the center of the knowledge of the new knowledge. This is again, Keshe Foundation has, this is on internet across Iran, going into the television and radios. Continuously promoting one cup on, what do you call it? This is the first time we see the flag of Iran, the flag of Keshe Foundation as a KFSSI across Iranian network.
Just one question here. I hope they are telling the people that we are totally international.
Yes, of
because
course. That's why we carry
good.
that banner of KFSSI. It is international. It's not an Iranian organization. If you read the Farsi, it says about that means when you pray to God, or when you serve God, it's nothing but to serve the nation. And this is flag of Keshe Foundation. We can see it. This is literally going. There are videos with this. Continuously, Keshe Foundation now in past 2 weeks promoted by the government officials through Keshe Foundation network, all the channels, as one of the leading scientific nations groups. This is the book. This, you see this continuously coming up in Iran now. They started it 2 weeks ago, and we have broken through. It's continuous KFSSI. It's a massive work, which is Iran. There is the best one they have released is this one now. Uniting the Iranian nation on the flag of KFM.
Will these become standard in a sense for using in other countries? Like the
It
picture
depends
of
who
the...
picks it up, yes. This is, as you see, carries the flag of Iran. We have united all the states of Iran on the flag of Keshe Foundation. The 69 support teams and hundreds of backup. They have decided that the support team decided to bring all the states because they said there was a northeast in the desert. They created a banner under one. And it's the way it's going at the moment. We see it on all the Keshe Foundation channels. And it is amazing how it's going. We're keeping very quiet. The public is taking the KFSSI, Keshe Foundation, as part of the pride of Iranian knowledge and technology. And this is how they promote us as a scientific group.
It might be useful if you put out small snippets of information on other things as well, besides the health.
It's everything. We're going into the space.
Because I can't read what's there because it's...
It says the purpose of the Keshe Foundation is helping people from the hands of death, in a way. And it's the support of the nation.
Thank you for translating that. Very beautiful pictures and artwork.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. This is Dave from Atlanta. I'd like to ask you a question. A few weeks ago, you talked about in Iran, the doctors were using the one drop, one life on the corona patients in the hospitals. I was curious as to what the results of that were, and will you be releasing the details on what the exact protocol, one drop, one life for corona would be?
Sounds like Mr. Keshe has given his answer. He's remaining silent.
What happened? We are taking other steps with this one drop, one life. Even today, we're as part of overcoming pharmaceutical problems. We have taken a massive step today, and hopefully within the next few days we'll get more of this, and that the Keshe Foundation will take new steps in world of medicine. We'll announce it very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
The position with us is, if this result comes out in what we started, we will literally close pharmaceutical businesses in a very rapid way. Our team of scientists working on it. But now 2 hours ago, they reported they have started the procedure. Even we can make everything available at zero cost. And our team are very, very hopeful we get it. We should see the results in next week, 2 weeks, and then it'll come, because these researches are not done in Iran. Heavily concentrating on Iranian teams We got large number of scientists in Iran helping us. And when we called for help for these two major hospitals, one is actually started now, the second one's coming too. People have traveled from all corners of Iran to be in Tehran to help to make sure that the hospital is supported. And for instead of having the knowledge seekers in the wards, I asked the knowledge seekers to ask professional nurses to be in the wards they are taught, because once we finish, we can send these nurses across the country. So instead of knowledge seekers being in, we are training nurses inside the hospital as Keshe Foundation team, not as hospital team. And we, this way, knowledge seekers support with the technology. In the hospital, we have given rooms, we have given accommodation for them to sleep. Literally, the hospital has bent backwards to do it because they've seen the results over 6-8 weeks. And so the knowledge seekers are traveling. I've seen a video this morning, yesterday. They're all from all over Iran are just literally pouring into Tehran slowly to support this, that they can support the rest of it. Iran has started a revolution in science, and we see it. And I promised that to the Iranian leadership that I return to Iran in September to raise the space technology to new heights, new standard. And we have already offered the first flight system to the government. And we'll see how it goes. The beauty of it is that the nation is taking the Keshe Foundation across, not the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers that done all their work. They're still there. The leadership, the support, the army divisions, the members of the parliament, the head of the states of the different divisions, all have come as part of the Keshe Foundation. It's just that we have a president who is incompetent, and by whatever is there, the problem is he's Ayatollah and cannot be handled. If he was a normal civilian president, he would have been removed. He sits in the clergy, and he's using that what I call position to abuse. If the president was not Ayatollah, we would have removed it immediately. And if we removed an Ayatollah as a president, then it creates a lot of problems inside Iran for religious leaders. This is how it's the only way we can handle it without the structures.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for answering those questions of mine. Thank you very much. And thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah, it's not me, it's the Iranian Keshe Foundation. We just support them. Now that the company has set up, we can officially start operating in Iran. KFM Iran has been accepted. Now it's just a matter of share transfers and everything else. And the rest is done by knowledge. If you attend Monday teachings, they have gone so much into the spiritual side of the teaching about the soul and everything else. The nation is hungry for breakthrough, and they have received it. And the beauty of it is, the leadership, all the forces have seen their own family being saved by the Corona, by the foundation. That's where we come strong. We're getting invited to be in the cities, but we don't have enough people to be in the cities, so we have asked for a public teaching. If we get granted, then we are on the Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, there's been a big change in the Brazilian community there. They have definitely gone on the soul teachings. The discussion has been very intense, and now we've brought that to the North American team. I'm trying to keep up with you.
Yeah, I think we have to see how it goes. Don't forget, when we went to Brazil, we had a huge problem in Brazil because of the Universal Council member who actually caused a lot of problem, and two people were controlling the whole of Brazil and getting the freedom of their own talk, and they just took it and they ran with it. The head of the Keshe Foundation usually tends to be on the Friday teachings. She's always there. And the same year, over these holidays, we're trying to attend to as many talks like this, regular meetings, and to give them the support that they can go to the next step. The situation happened with what happened to do with my private life, damaged a lot of people. A lot of people were discharged, and in that process, we went out to what we call consolidate and give a lot of hope and encouragement to people to stay together. And we've seen many groups we attend understood this was a human failure, and we've seen very radical writings across different parts that blaming her for many deaths in Italy, and some people wanting it to be removed from all the teachings and everything else. But we have to handle it that way. We have to respect what it is, where we are and who we are, and trying to bring people to be ready for what's about to come. It's part of the process and part of understanding. It's a part of the cycle of the life of the foundation. And we are entering a new phase, new understanding, and we have to be gracious and just overlook a lot of things. The process is to the benefit of humanity, and we will break through in a massive way as we see it. And we will announce by Thursday the venue for the opening of what we call the exhibition of the two new systems and all the Keshe Foundation materials, with what we call ambassadors and prime ministers of the nations invited to join us in time. And we are going into that phase, the publicity and public understanding the new technology. So we are entering, and I always said I knew the breakthrough comes when this change came to the foundation. And in that way, we have achieved a lot. And it's not just one anymore. Brazil, America, the Keshe Foundation, Germany, France, Spain, and across Dutch people, and the Chinese. We are invited back by the Chinese leadership, 2 days ago, for me to return to China on a permanent basis, on the invitation of the leadership of China, which we have given an indication we are prepared to work with the Chinese officials on my return, but as a one nation group with Iran. And the invitation has been accepted. We'll see what happens and how we become and how we progress. We are part of a multi-million groups. It's not individuals anymore. And we saw the people who claim to be and end up have already taken their end and they're going to be. We saw how what we call the Portuguese tried to lock down Brazil, and we opened Brazil in a very beautiful way. The 2 trips we made changed everything, and now we can compare with other nations. John is doing so much beautiful work in Arizona. It will become the center of the research and development between Iran, US, in a very big way in the coming time. We got to bear the flag of peace and do not listen to rhetorics, and this is where we succeed. Anyway, I just came in to pop in, and thank you very much for all your work. And you try to extend the teachings. This is what we are asking. Use the chat rooms to teach, because when the time comes, if the teaching is not in the structure like in Iran, we won't be able to see the benefits. It's time to bring all the knowledge from the past and the present together on the teaching banner. And when it comes to moving, we can move. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Just the only thing is we got to extend the teaching, and not only on Thursdays or whatever, the workshops. We start advertising back again the workshops as other people were abusing it before we stopped it 2 years ago. You will hear on Tuesday and Thursday, we back the first workshops now set up by the Dutch team on Sunday the 16th. We have a huge base in Holland, and now we are bringing it back in, ready for it, because we have a possibility of large investment by Middle Eastern Group into Holland on behalf of the Keshe Foundation. Now we're getting supported by different type of organizations than before. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. And I know you're doing a lot of work in teaching, but try to start public teaching back on the track, because we need it very soon. Thank you very much.
Mark, I'm going to sign off the meeting to you on behalf of myself. I want to thank everybody for being here and contributing the way you have today. I think we're going in the right direction.